Hey everyone, here's a hopefully quick video on how to create an annotation booklet, which is a staple-less, glue-less, string-less book that you can easily make for yourself, and it is what we will be using to create our annotations for this unit. Now, the necessary materials that you need for this are 3 pieces of blank computer paper, typical size, which I think is about like 8.5 by 11. But again, just the standard computer paper size. You also need a pair of scissors to make a handful of cuts during this process. So, step number 1 is to make sure that you align your 3 pieces of paper so that they are as close to perfectly aligned as possible. So I got my 3 pieces of paper. I just made sure that the corners are very well closely aligned with each other as much as I can get it to perfect. Now, the second step is to fold all 3 pieces of paper in half, hamburger style. Forgive my kindergarten language, but I always just called it hamburger style. So yeah, fold it in half this way, and trying as much as possible to keep these corners aligned, go ahead and crease this backside. Okay, there we go. So I got my corners pretty neatly aligned there. And this is what our book is eventually going to look like. We've got a spine right here. We'll be able to open it just like that. Step number 3 is to use the scissors to make 2 small cuts along the spine. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut this way into the paper about 1 inch from the top and about 1 inch from the bottom. Now, the cut that goes into the paper only has to be about, I don't know, 1/4 of an inch. I just got to bring my scissors a little bit further into it. So that's all I've got. It's just a really small cut. You can just see right there, a real small cut on the top, about 1 inch from the top. And we'll do the same thing about 1 inch from the bottom. Now, do try to put effort into it to make sure that this distance is about the same as this distance. It doesn't have to be exactly the same, but this process can get a little messed up if one of these is like 1 inch and the other one is like 2 inches. So try to be close to similar with that. Now for the next step, take out 1 sheet and separate it from the other 2 sheets. Keep these nice and neatly folded. Now with this 1 sheet, and this is a step that people typically mess up, step number 5, what you need to do is cut from the inside to the inside along this fold. So you need to kind of bend your paper so that you can see that little hole there. Then use your scissors to cut. Again, we're only cutting the inside of this. Do not cut all the way through until the outside edge. So this is what you want is your final product on this step. You've got a paper with a nice neat hole right through the middle, almost like it's a puppet or something. Once you have that cut and these exterior edges right here and right here are still intact, I mean, they have to be intact. If you cut through those, you kind of have to start over with a new sheet for this one. Once you have that step done, you can set that aside. And let's take the 2 pieces of paper that we had folded from earlier that we set aside. Again, it looks like 1, but this is 2 sheets folded together still. Now, we're going to do the opposite cuts than what we did on that 1 single sheet. So instead of cutting the middle of the fold, we are going to cut from the small incision we made to the outside edge. So I'm starting here at the bottom, cutting along the fold, and I'm just cutting to where we get to that first initial incision, and that's it. Now I'm going to turn this around. I'm going to do the same exact process with this other cut. Okay, so these 2 pieces of paper have a little cut at the bottom, and they've got a cut at the top as well. Now, step number 8, and this is kind of steps 8 through 11, kind of get rolled into one. Kind of weird, so here we go. The 2 sheets of paper, keep them folded together, but open them up so they kind of look normal. Now, fold them in half like this, but don't crease it. You want it still to be curved this way. So hold it like that, the 2 pieces of paper. And what we need to do is we need to take this tube and push it through this bigger hole on our single sheet in the middle. Simple as that. Now I'm going to try to get a little bit of a close-up here, because what we need to do at this point is unroll this tube. So these two sheets of paper that we rolled together, we're going to kind of roll them out. And what's going to happen, and again, I can't really see my screen super well, but you see where these two pieces of paper are cut? And this single piece of paper still has this intact. We're simply going to align those up so that these two pieces that are cut aligns with this single sheet. On the bottom, it kind of just unrolled itself there. And voila, it's almost like magic. I'm just going to press those creases out. Now you've made yourself an annotation booklet. This will be your front cover, and you'll open it and create your table of contents there. I hope that makes sense. Ask me, email me if you have questions.